What's up, everyone, and good evening. It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Well, you know I'm going to always serve you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. As you all know, there are going to be some changes. Come August 1st, Hangouts on Air is going away, meaning things are going to be pretty different. People are going to have to start seeking other alternatives. I don't know how it's going to affect us as content creators, but one thing I am aware of is that it is going to motivate people to have to be more creative, motivate people to have to, um, put more time, energy, and effort into making their content more fulfilling. A lot of us have become spoiled with just jumping on these panels, having 8, 9 people on the panels with us, clowning, cutting up, and we're used to having all this energy with an entourage full of people on the panels, which has been good in some senses. Some panels have been um, very fulfilling for the Black community, discussing Black issues, discussing um, things that we're dealing with within the Black community. And in many cases, a lot of these panels have not been too effective because they've been promoting a lot of garbage, a lot of, negative content. And I do understand that sometimes, when it comes to us being content creators, we can't always have power, powerful, uplifting, encouraging content. Sometimes we got to go in pretty strong. Sometimes we got to be raw. Sometimes, we can't be like Dunkin' Donuts. We can't always sugarcoat the truth. Sometimes we have to go in pretty hard, and we got to go in pretty tough, especially when we're being passionate about certain issues that we're dealing with in the Black community. But however, the problem has been, it has created a lot of tension and drama, and it's more so with these panels. And I've just been sitting back and I've been observing, I've been paying attention to everything that's been going on within the YouTube sector, with the Black content creators. And I must say that I'm very disappointed that I see so many content creators that all started off together as a movement and as a group, and to see the discord, the division that has occurred amongst these Black men who was once all united together as a group that supported the same movement, that all shared the same theories and had the same idealisms about issues within the Black community. A lot of them has disbanded, also with Black women in the YouTube sector who also had their movements, and they all were together as one team. A lot of these ladies were down by law, but of course, egos get in the way, and it's always that one person that likes to take things to a whole nother level, that tries to outshine the panel, outshine the movement. They bend the rules, they don't follow the protocol because they let other people come into the movement and intrude and shift the atmosphere. And because of that, there has been a lot of division amongst Black men against other Black men, and Black women against other Black women, and Black men against Black women, and Black women against Black men within the Black YouTube sector. And I'm sure I am not the only one that's been noticing this. A lot of you as subscribers, y'all are witnessing, you know, panel content creators falling out with other content creators. And it just amazes me how once upon a time in these YouTube streets, these same people that I see can't stand each other, that talk so recklessly about each other. These were the same people that all was on the same panel, and that all pretty much co-signed on all the fuckery, whether if it was Black woman fuckery or Black man fuckery. It just amazes me how everybody was so down by law. And now, certain individuals get the big head, and now they want to be above the law, which is causing a lot of division and causing a lot of tension against everyone who was, basically supporting the same movement and the Black sector YouTube community. So anyway, just observing this and seeing all of what's going on is the reason that I decided to do this video, because I'm not really surprised. I am disappointed, but I'm not really surprised that things have escalated to this point now, to where you have a lot of other black men disrespecting and degrading other black men that once upon a time they all were on panels together, they all shared the same ideas together, they all banded together, and they basically had a strong unit where they were strong in their beliefs and strong in their content. And to see that it has led to this, to where now all of these full grown men have gone their separate ways and are treating the whole situation like, they're high schoolers. They're beefing, they're doing videos, going in on each other. It's just very disheartening, because I look at men to be leaders. So when I see the leaders of the black community that are in disarray, that's already a big issue, because it becomes a domino effect. Because whether men want to believe it or not, black men are the leaders of the black community. They are the leaders. So whenever you have the leaders that are in combat, those of us who are supposed to follow these leaders, or who's supposed to look up to these leaders and see them in conflict, that basically leaves a negative impact, on everyone else, as far as us being a black women and our children that are looking at, or at least um we're supposed to follow men of the black communities that are supposed to be the leaders. And if we see them in conflict, and we see them degrading each other, disrespecting each other, what chance do we stand as black women, especially within this YouTube sector, when we see all of these men going at each other? And it's very discouraging, and it's very disheartening. I know a lot of people may find it entertaining and might find it funny, and in some instance, I do find it entertaining. I do get a laugh out of it here and there. But what I fear the most is that men don't handle things the way that women do. And I really fear for certain individuals that are just going too far with disrespecting, with taking the disrespect to a whole nother level. And the reason I say that is because it's one thing when women get angry with each other. We'll talk about each other. We'll, air each other's dirty laundry. Women have been known, we do little petty dumb stuff like that out of anger. But when men get angry with each other, they take their anger to a whole nother level. Eventually, it'll go from the YouTube streets to the streets for real. And what I'm afraid of is that, in these YouTube sector, somebody, in some way, one of these men are going to get way out of pocket and take disrespect to a whole nother level, in which another man is not going to be able to deal with it, because men, again, their egos do not like to be challenged. They don't like anybody challenging their egos. They don't like anyone bruising their egos. And my fear is that it's going to get out of hand. Somebody is going to push the envelope. Somebody's going to mash the pedal to the metal. And I'm hoping that it never escalates to the point to where it ends up going in the streets for real. Because when men get angry with each other, it can resort to somebody actually getting killed or somebody getting hurt, because somebody's luck is going to be pushed one time too many. And sometimes, as a man, when a man has already um, voiced and expressed where he stands with the situation, and he tries to be the bigger man, he tries to walk away and squash it, but yet there's another man that is in conflict with him that won't be man enough to walk away or diffuse the confrontation, that eventually that man is going to get fed up and realize, you know what, I'm going to have to take this dude out to show him that he playing with the wrong person. And hopefully it doesn't resort to that point, but I just don't put anything past anyone, because again, men is a real man ain't going to tolerate disrespect but so much from another man. So at some point he's going to have to show him that he's doing too much versus just constantly blasting him and going off on him. Eventually, a real man is going to get fed up and knows, okay, I've done enough talking. It's time for me to up the ante because this dude is really, he really pushing his luck with me. I can't threaten this dude no more. Now I'm going to have to show him. And that's what I'm hoping will not happen, because it's just way too much being done, and I don't know how long the men on YouTube that's beefing and just going to keep going back and forth and exchanging words. Eventually, somebody's going to have to up the ante and show that they're not a force to be reckoned with. And I just have a strange feeling that's going to happen if they don't get a grip or a handle on um, the animosity that they're up against at this point in time. But as I stated, I'm not surprised. I kind of seen this coming, not with just the black male panels, also with the black female panels. All of these sisters that was down by law, that all was in cahoots with each other. You know, when things were going great, they had their panels together. They discussed um, everything under the sun. You know, they were even in the same agreements with the black male fuckery, the black man bashing. You know, they were all down by law. Over time, sooner or later, in the movement, somebody gets out of pocket. Black women disrespecting other black women, airing each other's dirty laundry, talking reckless about each other on the YouTube streets, you know, and they fall out. And this is the reason why I'm doing this video, because I kind of already seen that this was going to happen in the black sector, and there's really reasons. There's a strong indication behind that, which is what I plan on explaining in tonight's content, tonight's recipe. A lot of these panels were doomed from the start. I knew as a subscriber before I started my own channel, the way these men and these ladies were orchestrating their panel from the beginning, I knew it was only a matter of time when things were going to go left. This was way before people even started exposing each other, way before people started calling each other out, you know, way before, you know, people, you know, started beefing with each other. I already knew it was a matter of time these individuals were going to turn on each other. And this is both genders. I'm not specifically just talking about the men, and I'm not specifically just addressing the women. I knew for all the black men and black women in the black YouTube sector that things was eventually going to go left way before it did. And the reason because of that is because of the way the purpose of how the foundation was established from the start. And in many cases, when a foundation is not structured properly and securely, it doesn't matter what you build on that foundation, it is bound to destruct. It is bound to dismantle because the foundation was not solid to begin with. But in order for y'all to understand exactly where I'm going with this, I'm going to make it very simple because I really, really want everybody to key in on what I'm saying on this content. So I'm going to share this screen just so everyone can have um, a better indication as to what I'm talking about as far as these panels in their foundation. So I'm going to share the entire screen, so that way we can get a better analogy. I want to use an analogy, this as an analogy, just to kind of make it clear as to the point I'm making. Okay, let me try it one more time. It didn't share it then. It's YouTube. Google Hangouts is already kind of tripping. Okay, I don't know if it's that on my computer. Okay, I don't need nobody texting me this time of night. Turn these notifications down. Okay, all right. So it's letting me share. So I'm going to go ahead and present my screen. Okay, now as you can see here, um, this particular article is how to repair a sinking house foundation. And as I begin to read this article, it's going to register to you exactly where I'm going, and I'm going to try to explain as thoroughly as possible as I'm using this article as an analogy for the overall concept that I'm trying to um, share with all of you. Now, this article, as you can see, is how to repair a sinking house foundation. And it goes as follows. Foundation is one of the most important components of a house. Foundation is an extremely important element of the house structure. Any factor that affects the structural integrity and stability of the foundation affects, in fact, the structural integrity of the house. So, to break it down a little bit more simple, let me push this up here. As you can see, what this article is basically stating, no matter how well put together a house is, and as you can see, looking at this illustration, that this is a well structured house. It is the exterior is brick, which is a very solid, strong substance. As you can see, the house is well put together and is very solid. Um, but as we look underneath this beautiful house that has all of these wonderful attributes, beautiful windows, nice doors with glass, exterior, I mean, beautiful home. The problem is, if you can look underneath this beautiful house, there's a lot of underlying issues within this whole situation with this home. Okay, let me go exit back out. I don't want to share that whole thing there. Let's see what this is doing. Okay, is it doing? Okay, back. Okay, so as you can see, there's issues underneath this beautiful structured house. We have here poor soil. We have plumbing leaks. We have poor drainage system. We have very big tree roots, and that's definitely going to be a problem, because as the trees begin to get bigger and bigger and bigger, this can definitely cause problems with the home, being that it's right and underneath the surface of the foundation. And then there's poor compaction. So basically, as y'all can see, this home eventually is going to have problems because of the foundation that it was built upon. And before this house was built, whoever the architecture was, like whoever the content creator is, because basically, uh, a channel is like a home in a sense. Okay, like for instance, I have my channel, which I consider to be like my home. And for anybody that's a content creator, your channel is basically like your home. And from the very start, it is up to you as a content creator that you make sure your home is built on a solid foundation. Okay, so basically, as content creators, we are architectures, meaning we build our own shit from the ground on up. Okay, we design the way our channel operates, we design the way our panel operates. Okay, so it's very important that from the start we take this element very seriously. The problem with a lot of the content creators, they built their home, which is their channel, okay, on a shaky foundation to begin with. So even though they had a wonderful vision from the start that, okay, I'm going to create my channel, I'm going to be, for instance, I might decide to be, if I wanted to be a content creator that just wanted to promote black male fuckery, meaning I'm always degrading black men, I'm always talking trash about black men from the beginning. That was the foundation that I have orchestrated for my channel, which in this case is like the foundation. is the poor soil, the plumbing leaks, the poor drainage. You see all of these problems. That's part of the foundation. But despite these problems, I'm going to build my channel just like this house is built on its foundation. Now, keep in mind, for instance, if I'm a content creator, and as I stated before, I want to promote black male bashing. Already I'm building my foundation off of an unstable foundation, a negative foundation. Now I know a lot of people are going to automatically think, okay, Mocha, how is that a negative foundation? Because you're talking about black men about bashing black men. How is that negative? That's not a bad thing. I mean, there are black men out there that are no good. There are black men out there that are dogs. There are black men out there that don't take care of their kids. Okay, so the average person would say, this is not bashing. This is keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just telling it like it is. How am I not bashing? That's true. But at the same time, the purpose of you promoting that has little or nothing to do with you wanting to build the black community or build a better bond between black women being able to understand black men better. You have, in other words, you don't have any good intentions on why you're promoting what you're promoting. You're promoting what you're promoting based on your own personal feelings, based on things that was done personally to you. Because again, you're promoting the negative content from a negative standpoint because you have had a negative experience. So therefore, you in your mind feel like you're not bashing black men. You're just telling the truth. You're telling it like it is. Okay, granted, but the problem is that's all you're promoting. That's an issue if that is all you're promoting and that's all you're addressing, which means you are building your foundation off of something that's not going to be beneficial in the long run to the structure of your home, which is the structure of your channel. Okay? So just keep in mind, this is what I mean by your foundation and based on what your channel is built upon. If it's only built upon promoting negative information about black men and you're not balancing it, you're not talking about anything positive that can be helpful to the black community, that could be beneficial to the black community, then basically you are already putting your home in jeopardy of sinking because you're not building it on a solid foundation, meaning you're not building it off of any positive content, which is a positive foundation. So let me go back to this article because I'm going to break this down a little bit more because I know some people still not getting it. Okay. So as it stated, foundation is an extremely important element and it is for the house structure. Whatever you choose to build your channel off of is basically going to determine the fate of how well um your channel promotes negative or positive content as far as the foundation that is built upon. Also, any factor that affects the structural integrity and stability of the foundation, being in what you build your channel, your panel off of, especially the foundation, is going to affect the structural integrity of the house. So basically, I've already mentioned this. You building your channel off of a poor foundation, which is negative content that only addresses negative issues in the black community. You speak upon nothing positive. All you address is fuckery. All you address is negative content. There's no structural integrity for the house or your channel because of what you're building the foundation that you're building upon. Okay. The article goes, sinking is such an unfortunate element that can affect the structural integrity of the foundation, thus destroying the structural integrity of the house. Now, Really think and read in between the lines. As it states, sinking is an unfortunate element. And that is the bad part. And that is what's going on in this YouTube structure, in this YouTube sector, the Black YouTube sector, in the YouTube community. You're seeing all of these people who started a panel together, which is the home that was built, okay? And you're seeing all of this conflict, all of this division. People are getting kicked out of YouTube movements. People are leaving YouTube movements, joining other people YouTube movements that they knew once upon a time was beefing or was arch enemies of the movement. Now they're going to the opposing enemy because the opposing enemy don't mind welcoming them, taking them in with open arms, because now the person that was part of the movement is so bitter and resentful for being removed out of the movement. Now they're going to tell the opposing enemy everything about that movement. Okay, they're violating the bro code, or they're violating the sisterhood code. Okay, and this is what happens when people are angry. You throw them out your movement, you get rid of them, you eliminate them. They are going to expose everything that has ever happened within that movement to the opposing enemy. Okay, because some people don't know how to be don't know how to be. Some people are sore losers. Some people don't know how to gracefully lose and just move on. No, they have to go and spill all the secrets of the movement out, or they got to go join the arch enemy movement that didn't like the movement they was once a part of. It's just a lot of this is how a lot of chaos is developed, thus destroying the structural integrity of the house. So meaning that uh once sinking because it becomes an element, it destroys the structural integrity of the house, which is what's going on in these YouTube streets. um Being that some of these YouTube panels are dismantling, they're dividing, individuals are getting kicked out of going a certain way. This is ruining the structural integrity of the house, being what the house had was built upon, what structured the house to begin with. It's like when you first building a brand new home, and it starts off as it just looks like a big shell. You just have nothing but lumber. You have just nothing but, all of these boards nailed and screwed together, before you put in the walls, before you put in the windows. And happens is, once the home start losing its structure, it starts sinking. Everything that was once joined together is now dividing and is now falling apart. So again, the structure of the home is being dismantled, and that is what's going on in the Black YouTube sector. Article goes on and says, therefore, a sinking foundation must be rectified as soon as it was noticed to prevent any damage that might occur in the structural integrity of the house. Now, this is a very significant point. The problem with a lot of these YouTube channels in the Black YouTube sector, there was already problems that was emerging, and for whatever reason, a lot of content creators had kept ignoring it. They kept overlooking it. They wouldn't nip it in the bud. They wouldn't address it. And because of that, um, slowly but surely, the structure that was built on the foundation starts to slowly dismantle. As the article said, therefore, a sinking foundation must be rectified as soon as it is noticed. And because things were not nipped in the bud, once they saw it, they kept making up excuses for it. Oh, well, he's having a bad day. You know how Sean is. You know how Greg is. You know that's how they talk. You know that's just his personality. You know he's an animated type of dude. We try to make excuses for people who we really want on our movement, who we don't want to get rid of. Same thing as women. We try to make excuses for our girlfriends, knowing the chick done showed you how shady she is, knowing you done seen her double cross other females, and you overlook all of that and say, well, that's just how she is. In the Black community, we want to keep giving people a pass, for their negative behavior, for their bad behavior, because again, we want them to stay within our movement. And sometimes we actually like we embrace these type of people that are disrespectful to other people, that are rude to other people, because we think that actually is a benefit to our movement, to have a hot head on our team, to have a firecracker, somebody that'll go off, somebody that'll tell it like it is. In many cases we condone and we allow and permit the fuckery behavior, because again, that helps the movement. For some, when we have those one or two individuals that love to set it off, that love to get crunk, that love to turn it up a notch. Sometimes certain movements embrace them kind of people. But the problem is, when you allow these people to take things too far, to the point now they turning up on you as a content creator, when you was the one who brought them on, when you was the one who opened the door for them. Now all hell breaks loose, because you did not rectify the problem as soon as it was noticed. You thought it was funny when these people were in your movement or on your brain or on your bandwagon, disrespecting other people, disrespecting other genders. You thought it was hilarious because again, y'all were on the same accord at the time for the movement. Y'all were on the same home. Y'all had this home together. Basically, y'all agreed to the fuckery or the negativity that was being promoted. So even when you seen certain individuals within the home, within your panel or channel, disrespecting and getting out of pocket, you let it slide. Okay. So anyway, as I was saying, a sinking foundation must be rectified as soon as it is noticed, which a lot of content creators are not doing. They're not nipping things in the butt with certain individuals right away, to prevent any damage that might occur in the structure integrity of the house. And that what has happened. A lot of damage has been done in the structure of the way of how, as to how these YouTube panels were operating and how they were orchestrated from the beginning, based on the fact the problem was not rectified as soon as it was noticed. Because again, you like the fact that you had this chick on your team that was a hothead. She didn't mind letting the brothers have it. She was one of the sisters in your movement that you got your jollies off of, that would disrespect black men and assault black men. And you thought, and you was high-fiving her on that. You was part of her praise team on that. But again, you didn't rectify the problem. So that causes damage to the structure integrity of the house, meaning the house is in reference to your channel. Okay, if it is not redeemed within time, the sinking will continue, resulting in serious and expensive damages. Now let's stay right here. Let's pump the brakes right here. If it is not redeemed within time, in other words, if you don't nip things in the bud on your channel as a content creator, when you see people in your movement that you have created is getting out of pocket, you don't address it, the sinking will continue, resulting in serious and expensive damages, meaning these individuals bring a lot of havoc to your channel. They don't stir up a bee's nest. They got everybody stinging you right now because you did not nip things in the butt when you saw it getting out of pocket. And once you allow a person to become disrespectful, it is hard to wean a person off of that. I can personally attest to this because it happened to me. Just to pump the brakes here, I was in a situation, and I'm gonna come back to here, but I just wanted to make this point right quick. I'm just want to pump the brakes there. I was in a situation in which me and the female was very close, and I done talked about the story 1,000 times, but I like sharing the story because it ties so much into the point that I want to make. Because keep in mind, a movement doesn't have to be 8, 9 people. It could be just you and one other person. It could just be the two of y'all. That's still a movement. I remember when me and this chick, we banded together because we both had the same common hate. Okay. And that's the same thing that's going on with a lot of these YouTube panels that are being created and orchestrated. It comes from the fact that a lot of these men and a lot of these women share the same common hate, whether that hate is against other black women, whether if that hate is against other black men, whether if you have some of these pro-black movements that all have hate towards other races. In other words, whenever a movement or a home is put together, 9 times out of 10, that all individuals share the same common like or dislike. That is what bonds most people together. No different than you had a friend in high school. Maybe y'all bonded because y'all both was nerds, or maybe y'all both bonded because y'all was the only prettiest girls in the classroom. Everybody that initially starts off a bond or a relationship is because there was something they had in common. So basically, me and this girl, we bonded on the job because there was a lot of things we hated going on within that particular workplace. We both did not like the same type of people. We didn't like the same individuals on that job. Certain people, there were certain people I did bubble with that she didn't bubble with, and vice versa. But for the most part, we had the same common drive, okay, which made us bonded. And because of that, we built that bond, and we banded with each other because there was a lot of underhandedness going on within the department we worked at. And that was the other reason we bonded, because we were kind of like the outcast. And we felt like, in a sense, as long as we banded and bonded together, that we would both be of benefit to each other and protect each other. A lot of people didn't know in the department that me and her were friends, and we intentionally kept it that way. We did not want the boss, we did not want nobody to know how close we were, because that gave us an advantage. So by individuals in the department not knowing how close we were, they would talk about me to her, and she would let me know, hey, Mocha, watch your back. Director told me you messing up, you doing this, you doing that. Now this chick is coming back and telling me stuff. Nobody in the department know me and this girl was friends, knew we was going out and having drinks together. So that's how we became each other's lifeline, in a sense, and vice versa. I would hear stuff about her, and they didn't know that me and her was close like that. So that gave me the advantage of being able to put her on and say, yo, just telling you, I heard this person, the boss, blah, 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 blah. So we became each other's lifesaver, in a sense. Now, the problem ended up continuing was when we did not see eye to eye. And I noticed with these YouTube panels, everybody's down by law as long as everybody agrees. I see it happen so many times because, again, what happens when these panels are put together is because everybody was on the same key. Meaning, if I decide to do my content based on bashing black men, I'm going to get 3, 4 other girls on my panel who feel the same way. So, and initially, we going to be buddy. We going to be down by law because, again, we share the same common hate. But the problem with these panels, and in a lot of instances, is when you and a person bond because y'all both hate the same thing. The problem lies is you're not going to know how to bond with each other even when you have differences, because you only initially bonded together because y'all both felt the same way about certain thing, about whatever that concept or that initial um foundation that brought y'all together. Meaning that Yeah, y'all bonded because we all hated black men. Okay, we all was able to get along because we all had a hate for black men. But the problem is when we start disagreeing on other things pertaining to black men, it's going to eventually create a conflict because initially we always supported each other because we shared the same views. But some people cannot handle or deal with the fact that even though we've always agreed on something, this particular time I don't agree. And this, the unfortunate part about some friendships or some bonds, people can only connect with you when you're agreeing with what they believe in, agreeing with how they feel. But the moment you disagree or you look at things different, now it's a problem. And that's one of the biggest I see cons of start of the of building a YouTube movement in these YouTube streets, because if you have like 4 or 5 people that's been on the same wavelengths since the channel started, and now that one particular individual has been talking to people outside of the movement that's speaking different things in their ear. And it's making them change their mindset about things. It's making them change their outlook on life. And when they try to come back to the movement and share those differences and opinions that they received from somebody outside of the movement, it is going to create conflict. And there's an advantage and there's a disadvantage to that. In the movement, you should be able to have your own outlooks. You should be able to learn different ways of looking at things and being able to share it with the movement without being ridiculed or scolded, and not being perceived as you are betraying the movement because now you don't went over here and you learned something different. But there's a catch 22 to that too, because sometimes the person who we sometimes as a panelist, when you're on a panel and you're allowing an outsider to share different perspectives with you so you can go back and share it with the movement, who who never looked at it the way the new person, the intruder, is trying to make you look at it. What happens is it causes conflict with the people you're in the movement with. And who's to say the person that shared with you their different views, they didn't intentionally do that just to bring a disruption into the movement, not because they want to give you a different way or a better way of looking at things, but they want to keep poisoning you with their views and their philosophies, hoping that they can taint the movement that you have been a part of all of this time. And I noticed that that is what's going on in these YouTube streets. People are fine when they keep their panel with the same 5, 6 people, but when it's that one person that steps outside the movement and wants to embrace somebody and put them on, that person can basically come into the movement and shuffle up the whole deck. Okay, and sometimes it's good, but I've seen most cases in which it is bad. It's a saying that if it ain't broke, why fix it? And this is what happens. I mean, the more people you deal with, the more bullshit you got to put up with at the same time. But anyway, I know I'm digressing. But me and the young lady, we were cool as long as we shared the same type of hate for certain individuals. Now, when I started seeing how she was treating me and how I started becoming being disrespected in the friendship, because again, sometimes when you start off a bond with someone in the movement, and people get so used to you being humble to them and looking out for them, sometimes people take your meekness as weakness, and that's what happened. I pretty much allowed her to kind of I won't say run the show, but I understood that that was part of her nature. She was a bossy type of female, and she was a little dominant. And I understood that, and it wasn't that I was scared of her or I feared her. I just accepted that. That's her personality. That's just the way she is, she's just the outspoken female. I didn't look at nothing wrong. I didn't see nothing wrong with it initially, but this is the problem. I noticed that also in the YouTube streets, this occurs a lot. There would be certain people that do way too much on these panels to the point where sometimes I wouldn't even know who the content creator was, because this one person was taking over the panel, that was the most loudest or the most obnoxious or the most boisterous, um, to where you really couldn't tell who was really leading the panel. And even though I would notice everybody on the panel was okay with certain individuals being loud, being a firecracker, being a Flavor Flav, there's always that one dude on stage that loves to get the part, like a hype man, hype man. Yeah, that's a good one. We have a lot of YouTube hype mans. Oh, that's a good one there. We have a lot of hype mans on YouTube that like to turn the show up, turn the panel up, really act up, really get all the attention and get the crowd hype. We have a lot of hype mans on YouTube that will get on these panels and love to turn up, love to be obnoxious, love to be disrespectful. They want to be the hype man because they want to keep the crowd hype. They want to put on the show. So at first, although it's entertaining, even to the content creator who allowed this person to become a part of the movement, as sometimes the same thing you like about a person, if you're around it a lot, you realize you really can't stand it no more. Kind of like what it was with me and the female I was friends with. I like the fact that she was a no nonsense type of chick, that she would put you in your place the moment. I thought that was cool. I'm like, because I'm the opposite. It take me a minute to put somebody in their place. She, on the other hand, she would nip it in the bud right away. And that's what made me embrace her, because a lot of times we embrace people that have the courage to do things that we can't always do. Or sometimes it's not that we don't have the courage to do it, it's just not in us to do it. Like, even certain jobs, they will hire certain people who they know will fire people, will terminate people, don't care if their feelings get hurt or not. They hire these type of people because they don't have the courage to do it. They are not, and it doesn't mean that's a bad thing. They just don't like to fire people. They just don't like dealing with the conflict. So they hire somebody else to do it. So I notice a lot of these content creators, a lot of them really don't have the I don't say courage, but they really don't have the energy to really, you know, always turn things up or always get the crowd hype. They just like to run their panels, run their channels. So if they're not animated, they'll put that one brother or one sister on who animated, and it brings the hot sauce to the panel. But the problem is when these hype men or hype women start getting out of pocket with you, which is usually what ends up happening, because a hype man or a hype woman, the problem is they don't know when to turn it down a notch, because that's what happened with me and old girl. Like I said, I like the fact that she was spicy and a no nonsense, but the problem was when me and her had issues, she tried to apply that same mechanism to me. And I noticed it on a lot of YouTube panels. I noticed content creators that will let these firecrackers or these hype men or hype women, because they love the fact they're what's the word? Cha- Charismatic. I can't talk tonight. They like the fact that they love to pump it up and turn it up. That's what makes the show interesting. That's what makes the panel interesting. We all like that hype man or hype woman. But when it becomes a problem is when they want to turn up on you. And I've seen many of these hype men and hype women, they turn up on the same people who allowed them to come on their platform. And it's amazing. And a lot of subscribers be noticing this. Subscribers notice when other panelists are regulating the content creator. And even though as a content creator, you try to laugh, you try to play it off, or you say, well, that's just the way he is. That's the way Rob is. Rob always been like that. Rob, that's just Rob way. He his own man. I ain't about to put him in his place. That's just how he do. That's how it is. But the problem is, yeah, You letting him be that way, but when the problem gonna become is when he becomes that way towards you. And same thing as a female content creator, I let a certain female, because she's a firecracker, she's a ticking time bomb. She one of those sisters. As soon as somebody come in my chat room, she'll cuss them out and get them up out of there. I don't operate like that, but she does. And even though for a while it may be beneficial to me because she's the one that will shut men down that disrespect the panel. The problem is eventually she's going to use that same mechanism towards me. And I've seen this 1,000 times where content creators or people who create their own channels, they love to bring people in to turn it up because it makes their panels more exciting, makes their panels more fun. But what do you do when the entertainer starts getting out of pocket with you? But that's for another discussion. But let me get back to sharing the foundation of this house, because I still got some points I have to make before I get ready to shut this down. Okay, let me get back to where I was. Okay, but that's what I mean by if it is not redeemed within time, the sinking will continue, resulting in serious and expensive damages, which means now this person, you had to abort them from your channel, from your panel. Now it's creating all type of serious damages because now they're going back and ratting out everything y'all shared in the movement to the new movement that they have joined, or even to a movement that was originally arch enemies to that movement before they decided to join them. See how messy it gets? And expensive damages. You may lose money, you may lose donations, because this person who you done got rid of, this person who you done kicked off the panel, they're going to go to the person that's willing to embrace them, especially an arch enemy. An arch enemy loves to embrace people in the movement that left a movement or got kicked out of a movement that they were against, because this gives them an advantage. Because the person who then got kicked out the movement or got eliminated or terminated, they are going to allow their bitterness. They're not going to be man or woman enough to leave it be. Okay, you got kicked out, you got terminated, don't want you, whatever. Just move on. No, they want to be petty. They want to tell the new movement everything, all the secrets. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I was with them, old boy was doing this and old boy was doing that. Or yeah, when I used to rock it with her channel, she did this and she did that. I see black women and black men throw each other up under the bus every time these movements dismantle. Every time these houses, these homes start struggling off of the foundation, things get messy. Okay, let me move back. Get back into this. The main reason for the foundation. Now, check this out. I want y'all to follow me. The main reason for the foundation sinking is that the house is situated on unstable soil. What do we mean by unstable soil? I'm gonna tell you that. Fuckery. Negative content is unstable soil. I'm going to break this down a little bit more because I know a lot of people are going to be like, how's that? How is talking about fuckery? How is bashing black men? That's not an issue. Bashing black women. That's not an issue. So what? That's just keeping it real. That's just we just telling it like it is. This is the problem. I'm going to tell y'all what the problem is. And I probably already mentioned it before, but I have to keep beating this with a dead horse until it sticks. Again, unstable soil means negativity. Whenever you build a movement off of a negative theory, you don't think negativity is not going to derive out of that? Let me give y'all some better analogies. For instance, if you are a side chick, okay, and you're messing around with somebody's husband, you've been messing with a married man for maybe 10, 15 years, right? No, he had a wife, no, he had a children, you didn't care. You were still dealing with this man, having sex with him, meeting him. at the Motel 6 parking lot, getting your back banged out, go to Waffle House, wash off with Irish Spring soap the next day. It is what it is. So what happens is the wife finds out that her husband has been banging you and having sex with you, and the wife decides to divorce him and leave him. Now, initially, you as a side chick, you're going to think it's a win-win. Because now you get the man of your dreams, and now the wife is out the way. So at this point, you think you're in a win-win situation. So now you and him all together. Let's say y'all decide to move in a little 2 condo apartment or whatever. And now you noticing he's coming home late after y'all done been together, let's say like a year or two. Now you don't start the second year of the relationship. You're starting to see patterns with him leaving the house like he used to do with you when he was married to his wife. You seeing him leaving the house 11, 12 o'clock at night, dressed up and G'd up in the same nice clothes he used to dress up in when he used to creep and sneak with you. Um, he's not answering his phone when you call him, just like he wouldn't answer his wife calls when you and him was sneaking out on y'all secret rendezvous. Now all of a sudden you feeling some type of way, and not realizing that you met him through shady means. You met this man through a messy foundation, off a messy foundation. He had already had a wife. He had already had a family. You disregarded everybody's feelings because it wasn't you getting hurt in the process, and you decided to be with him anyway. Now you're going through everything the wife had to go through. Now you want somebody to empathize and sympathize with you. No, how you thought you was going to get blessed and ride off into the sunset with this man, knowing he never was really yours to begin with. And that's just an analogy. Is whenever you build something off of shady means, meaning negative content, shady, through shady means, through shady foundations. How do you think it was going to grow or blossom? What made you think you was going to prosper? And that's the same thing with the way the YouTube content, the YouTube streets work. A lot of these YouTube movements were bound to dismantle. They was doomed from the start because y'all set up here all this time promoting nothing but negativity. You set up here on your panels talking bad about the opposite sex, and I'm not just talking about the men, females too, because there's a lot of females in these YouTube sectors. In fact, there's more females in the YouTube sectors. The men just started falling out. The women been falling out, been doing this. Y'all build y'all foundation off of talking trash about black men, and y'all think y'all not gonna fall out or get into it, because 9 times out of 10, what you feel about other people, you're gonna feel about yourself. And I know that absolutely makes no sense to anybody, but you can't promote this type of negativity and think that your movement is going to grow or blossom from it. It's no different than a gang who initially started off their gang by killing folks, robbing folks, shooting folks to earn credibility in the streets as a force not to be reckoned with. You think that's not going to come back on you because you got into a gang and y'all was shooting folks, robbing folks, killing folks? You don't think you're going to have to pay back that debt in karma? And I say all like to say this: I'm looking at this from a different perspective with these YouTube content creators that's falling out with other content creators or other panelists. I look at it more than just, that's one factor, that they disrespected the movement. They allowed outsiders to intrude. Yeah, all of that plays a part in it. But I strongly believe the reason why a lot of these YouTube channels are dismantling, and these YouTube movements, that that has been built in these YouTube streets, the reason why a lot of them are dismantling is because they mistreated a lot of people on the outside when they began their movement. Meaning that, yeah, even though y'all created this movement to promote your negative content about black men or black women, how did y'all think y'all movement was going to continue to grow and flourish and y'all never fall out with each other when from the start you started the movement off of a negative foundation? How did you not think that eventually y'all were not going to fall out? You did not build the movement off of something positive. You built it off of something negative. So it was bound to self destruct because you didn't start it for the right reasons anyway. You wanted to promote the fuckery of black men or the fuckery of black women to earn notoriety in the YouTube streets, to earn credibility. And even though you got all these donations, I'm not saying they're not winning doing the fuckery now. They're winning. They're getting donations. They're getting the money. But the sad part is a lot of friendships have been lost. And the sad part is a lot of them don't see that because they're too busy looking at the money. They're looking at the donations. They're looking at all the notoriety because their subscribers have become fans of their foolishness and supporting them. So because of all of that, they don't care who they lose in the process, even though the people who they lost was the ones who helped them to get the notoriety and success that they have by bringing them onto their channels. That's like me bringing, for instance, I'll use classic Ruby because me and her and Kels and Coogee and a couple of us are really cool. I'll use Ruby as an instance. I start my channel and I'm bringing Ruby on my channel, and because on my panel, and she's been a participant all of this time, me and her fall out or whatever, and I started my panel off of negative content bashing black men, and me and her fall out. How did I not expect that not to happen? You can't you can't produce a good tree off of dirty soil. You can't start these movements off of negativity and think that God is going to bless it, that is going to grow, that is going to prosper. That's like you damn near, I mean, we got examples around us all day long. That's like being a drug boy. You've been selling drugs all your life. You've been a dope man selling drugs all your life. You got all these cars, you got all these houses and stuff to show for, and next day the feds bust up to your house and strip you of everything because you missing sold to an undercover. I mean, like, in other words, how long you thought you was going to be able to keep living a good life? You getting your money the dirty way, you getting your money in a sleazy way. You think that was not going to come back, even though it was fast money, even though it was good money. You didn't think that was going to come back to bite. You wasn't going to have to deal with that at some point. And I strongly believe a lot of these content creators are falling out. It's not just so much just their movement, it's the fact of how they treated other people when the movement was going good. In other words, if me, Ruby, and Kels, we up here promoting bashing black men, and we're the best of buddies because we're on our panels all day long going in on black men, talking trash about black men. That's what we do day in and day out. Got 800 people in the chat room, women co-signing and pray and joining in on the praise team. Yeah, let these Negroes have it, girl. Tell it like it is. These men ain't no good. These men are dogs, and this and that, whatever. And I think we're going to keep growing. Eventually, we're going to bump heads because it's going to be negativity because we're building it off of a negative foundation where it's not going to grow, it's not going to prosper. Eventually we're going to divide because of the foundation that the channel is being built upon. Now, to move further, it states the main reason for the foundation sinking is that the house is situated on unstable soil, which I just explained that. Fortunately, over the past 40 years, have developed various techniques and methods. Okay, so this is going a little different place or whatever. But y'all get the overall point of what I'm saying about um even though the article is about how to repair a sinking house foundation, it basically breaks down the elements as to what causes the foundation to sink in the first place. I strongly believe that a lot of what's going on in these YouTube streets is bigger than the fact that somebody just betrayed somebody or somebody didn't follow the protocol, they didn't follow the rules and the regulations. That's part of it. But a lot of it has to do with the people y'all mistreated along the way when your movement was prospering, when your movement was growing, the way you disrespected people who was not part of your movement, the way you disrespected other black women, the way you disrespected other black men when y'all were down by law. And karma has came back to make its residence. And this goes for any and everybody. Same thing for me. If I mistreat or disrespect other people, it's going to come back to bite me at some point in time. That's what a lot of people not understanding. It's more than, oh yeah, we took this person in and we made them a part of our movement, and they betrayed us and they didn't follow the rules or they didn't follow the protocol, or we let this chick in. This chick fell out with somebody on the panel that you really did like and you respect and admired, and now that chick is feeling some type of way because she feel like, how dare you defend this new chick when I was the one on your panel the whole time. It's bigger than that. It's the fact that a lot of these content creators, they acted like big time egotistical, you know, clowns when they all was together supporting the same cause. We see it all the time. How many of us been in high school and we seen all the pretty girls that used to hang out together, that used to pick on the ugly girls together, that was the snooty bunch, always sat at the lunchroom table together. Nobody could sit at that lunchroom table but them and all that. Then as soon as you see them falling out, they're not dealing with each other. Now they air each other's dirty laundry. Oh, she thinks she this and she thinks she that. It was bound to happen because of how y'all treated other people when the movement was going strong. And not only that, you had the fact of what you chose to build your foundation off of, which is this as was stated earlier, um this poor foundation of what you building upon. There was no structure. When you built your house, you built your channel, you built your movement, you built it off of nothing but straight negativity. It was already things, just the fact of what you chose to build it upon was already poor within itself, was already damaging within itself. You may not think so because you got all of these donations, you got all of these subscribers, everybody came to rock with you when you were promoting all of this negative garbage, which was the foundation that you built your home or your channel off of. And for you to not think it wasn't going to go into shambles, it's puzzling to me that you have so many men and women in these YouTube streets not understanding why people betrayed the movement, why people not respecting the movement. It was bound to happen because of two reasons. You didn't build that foundation for the right reasons. Most of y'all built your foundation for money. Most of y'all built your foundation for fame. Most of y'all built your foundation for recognition. You did not build your foundation to build the black community. You did not build your channel or your panel. You did not build our foundation to really uplift people, to encourage people. Now I get it. All topics ain't going to be about wonderful topics, and yeah, we all should love each other. We all should embrace each other. No, I'm not saying it always got to be something positive, but day in and day out, look what happens if you keep building a foundation on top of negative stuff. The fact, like, if we keep, like, for instance, with this house, we keep allowing these leaks, these plumbing leaks to keep leaking, and we never fix it, meaning we never talk about nothing different. We're not going to build nothing more solid. We're not going to address anything more solid or edifying to make the foundation stronger. We're just going to keep leaking the same garbage. And you think these pipes are not going to rust because you keep letting these water leaks leak out this plumbing, and you won't fix it. Same thing. You keep promoting the same garbage and nonsense day in and day out. But that's what this is just my opinion, and I'm gonna get ready to shut it down with this. It's just my opinion as to why things have gone left, why there's so much division in the Black YouTube sector. There's been a lot of disrespect. I've seen a lot of these men do really well with their channels. I've seen a lot of these women do really well with their panels. They join strong forces together. A lot of these content creators are the reason that small content creators such as myself was inspired to basically, create their own channels. You see all of the energy and all of the great things that come along with being a content creator. And that was one of the reasons I started my channel. There was a lot of guys that I actually respected. There was a lot of women that I actually respected. I was a subscriber once upon a time, believe it or not. I didn't have my channel when I first started on here. I started my channel because initially I did like a lot of the knowledge these brothers in the YouTube channel was spilling. I had enjoyed going to their content. I enjoyed listening to 5 or 6 of them talk, even if sometimes their content was a little harsh, but as long as the truth was edifying, I used to support a lot of these brothers. I never went on their panels because I knew, how they treated Black women, but I knew how to support from a distance. Some of these sisters, I followed them from the beginning. I hung out in the chat rooms. I showed my support, but over time, I don't know what has happened when I started seeing a lot of Black women and a lot of Black men in the Black YouTube sector, just started taking things to a whole nother level where they're degrading, um, and, bashing, and insulting one another. It just took the fun out of wanting to be a part of any of their movements, because it just became a bit too much. And what made it worse was when I started seeing other men disrespect other men. I'm like, oh Lord, it's bad enough Black men was disrespecting Black women and Black women was disrespecting Black men, but now we got Black men disrespecting Black men. And then I see Black men allowing other Black women to disrespect Black men, when once upon a time you was part of movements where y'all didn't take none of that. Y'all didn't allow the opposite sex to disrespect one another. Same thing with these sisters. They had a problem with Black men and they started their movement because of that. But now that y'all done fell out, these sisters are on other Black men panels disgracing the other Black women who they once upon a time was doing panels with about Black men. Oh my gosh, it is just terrible to see how people is eating each other up when they were so loyal and down by law. They used to promote all the clownery and the fuckery together. Now they are literally trying to slander and rip each other apart. And to think at one point in time, I actually wanted to join some of these movements and join some of these panels. I'm glad kept my Black ass away from a lot of these sisters and a lot of these brothers, because the way they mistreating people who used to be loyal to them, it just amazes me how people can switch up on you on a dime. I have not seen so many people flip. There is so many people on YouTube, they've been flipping more than a pancake spatula at the International House of Pancake. Y'all done flip, 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 flip. And the thing is, it's not going to end. Even people who's going to new panels that done left old panels or done got kicked out of other panels or booted off, they're going to take that same negative energy on to whoever else will embrace them. It's not going to end because some people are just negative. Some people are just chaotic. And I believe you got some bitter men out here, and you have some bitter women out here. They only get their jollies off of trying to make other people miserable. So on that note, I don't care if I'm never part of anybody's movement, because the way I see them treat each other, I don't want none of these brothers taking me in under their wing, under their movement, and the same with a lot of these sisters. It's just too much two-facedness going on. I don't want no parts of it. It looks like Mocha is going to be riding solo for a very long time, other than the one or two people like Ruby and Kels and Kujin and Reg and a couple of other people. I'm cool with a select few, but I keep my circle small, because the more people you chill with, the more bullshit you got to deal with. So anyway, y'all, just wanted to share this content with y'all or whatever. I'm still trying to have plans on doing my Black Women's webinar thing on the 19th. Until I see how these new changes are going to take it about, I think I need to put that off for a while, as much as I had good intentions on starting it. I got to get in the hang of not using this Google Hangout and start looking into these other um, Hangout live streaming devices that us content creators are going to having to start getting used to, because they're getting ready to change things. This Google Hangout is going to end on the 1st of August. So before I can start my webinar, I got to transition into the new changes. I would hate to start it right now and then I have to get used to how the new system works. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. Leave your opinion and your alone. What do you think about these YouTube content, that the conflict that's been going on lately? Do you think that is just the fact is been a lot of division based on people not following the rules, or people not following the proper protocol and letting outsiders in? Or do you just think this is bad karma, based on the fact that when they started this movement, a lot of these men and women were egotistical, they mistreated a lot of people that was not part of their movement, so now karma has came back to collect this debt? What do y'all think about this? I would love to hear y'all opinion. And respectfully, we don't have to mention any names. We already know what time it is. You know what I mean? I have nothing against anyone in particularly. I'm just so disappointed. People that I used to look up to in these YouTube streets, men who I admired as content creators, and the women, they just done went the straight clownery in these YouTube streets. But anyway, y'all, just we'll chop it up. Yeah, leave your comment below. I'm interested and want to know what you guys, you ladies, think about this. It is your girl, Lady Mocha. Remember, I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth, and I'm going to always break you off a slice of knowledge. And for those who would like to leave a donation, you are welcome to Cash App, even if it's just $2, $3 a month. Doesn't make a difference. Please make sure you hit that thumb up right now before you leave this video. Just click that thumb up. It's only 2 seconds out your life. I appreciate it, y'all. Y'all have a blessed night. Take care.